Time for another edition of Bases and Balls with my good friend Jim Rosenhaus, of course, Guardians broadcaster here on the morning show at WAKR. Well, Rosie, a couple things quickly. Let's take care of business with Stephen Kwan. We saw him leave the game on Wednesday afternoon. I guess indications, nothing serious, but what do you know heading into tonight's game?
Well, you hope not, and I think yesterday's off day was huge for him, and that seemed to be the takeaway for Stephen Vogt after Wednesday's day game, that they got him out of there quickly. They didn't want it to get worse, and so this way they could start treatment, and then that off day helps, I think. So hopefully he's back in there tonight. We'll see, but it didn't sound too serious, at least initially. You always worry the next day if it might stiffen up or get worse, but. Um, at least the initial indications were it wasn't too bad. So hopefully he's back in there tonight.
Well, speaking of injuries, one, and I know Hammy and you were talking about it on the broadcast a couple of days ago, real tough one to take has been Lively. I mean, he's been so consistent for us the last year and a half, and now it looks like we're going to be without him for quite some time. So I guess talk a little bit about Ben, what he's meant to this team, and then that cavity that is now formed, and what do you expect going down the road to try to take up some of those innings from Ben?
Well, I mean, he was an absolute boost. He led the team in wins a year ago, which I think that kind of slips under the radar for a lot of folks. But 13 wins a year ago and was really steady to start this season. So that's just a tough break for him because he's at that age too where it'll be a little bit harder, I think, to come back from the Tommy John surgery. But if anyone can, I wouldn't put it past him because he's a tough guy who's been through a lot in his career. So he'll give it a good run to come back. It's a year plus rehab though, as everyone knows. So it's a long road, but hopefully he does well. Slade Ciccone seems to be that addition to the rotation that could be really good. He had to start push back a couple of days because of some groin tightness, but his first two outings have been terrific and got his first win in the Guardians uniform last weekend in Detroit. So at least for the short term, there's your answer. But I think long term wise, they got Shane Bieber on the horizon, and then they keep looking toward that. Also, John Means probably a lot more down the horizon. Um, but Joey Cantillo, I know they're just going to stretch him out and have him start. So they have some options. There's some others down at AAA too, but at least short term, Slade Ciccone is getting that spot, and he's been a real nice addition to the rotation.
Rosie, a lot of people might not understand. You've been around baseball for most of your professional life, and some people will say, well, just move Cantillo in there. He's done a good job for us in the bullpen, and he started. We saw him start before in Akron, but that's easier said than done because he's been pitching one, maybe two innings at most. Talk to us about a timeline that it would take maybe for someone like Cantillo to stretch himself out to be available in that role.
You know, Ray, it's interesting. I think if Slade Ciccone wasn't here, and they needed someone to pitch in that spot, they might just roll him in there and see what happens. But um, he's probably at 45 to 50 pitches max at this point in time. So it won't take long. I would say a couple of starts down at Columbus, and he could get up to 75, 80 pitches, and they'd feel comfortable with that. But there's no rush right now. And they want to make sure that he gets comfortable back in that 5 day rotation because he was doing a nice job out of the pen. And they can be a different animal in terms of what you do preparation wise. So they just want to make sure that he gets that good foundation at AAA before putting him back in that spot up here if it's needed.
Jim Rosenhaus, Guardians broadcaster, bases and balls with us. Angel Martinez, Wednesday afternoon. Boom, the big shot to give us the lead and the win. And this guy's playing center. He's playing second. He's batting ninth. He's batting second. Sometimes I love him in the two hole, by the way. But talk about Angel Martinez and what he's meant to this baseball team.
Just tremendous. Did not have a good spring. Did not make the club out of spring training, and that may be one of those at the end of the year where you completely forget about that because of the year he's had. He's already had a good season, and the home run Wednesday against the Dodgers that ends up winning the game was huge in so many ways, and just a continuation for him of some big base hits that he's had. And He's been consistently close or above 300 with his batting average. From the right side, he's over 400. So good things happening. Still a work in progress in center field, but we see some good athletic plays that he'll make, and it gives you reason to say that he could be a really good one out there. And then when he comes in and plays second, he'll make some outstanding plays, and you remember that he's a career infielder. So there's a lot to like there with Martinez, and um, I I feel like he's invaluable. He's playing every day now, and they can't get him out of the lineup, which is a great thing.
I know
I
when
know.
when he was here in Akron a few years back, he was playing almost exclusively at second base then, and he was doing a tremendous job. So it's great to see him flourish. He's meant a lot to the team. Okay, we have the Angels starting tonight, coming in limping a little bit, but certainly a better season than maybe many people thought. They're hit again with injuries, and then off to New York next week to take on the Yankees. Talk about the next few games.
Yeah, you hope the Angels don't get hot. They're in a slump right now, where they got a losing skid going. Um, they're without Mike Trout again, and I know that's just a broken record that they're hating right now because it's every year lately. And that's such a shame because he is one of the great players in the game when healthy, but he just hasn't been now for several years. So we'll see what happens this weekend. And then the Yankees are red hot. Now they play the Dodgers in LA this weekend before they head back home to play Cleveland next week. So that'd be an interesting series. The first time around, the Guardians took 2 out of 3 and played really good baseball against New York. And we'll see if they can duplicate that in the Bronx.
All right, my friend. Well, looking forward to the calls starting tonight, 7:10, Saturday, 4:10, Sunday, 1:40, all right here in WAK. Rosie, again, thanks for taking time to join us this morning, and we'll do it again next week, my friend.
You got it, Ray. Thank you.